I'm going to look at Booleans. Booleans come in three varieties. You can combine or union objects. You can subtract object or objects from another one, or you can find where the two objects have overlap. So I'm going to show you the union first. So you always have to overlap one object over another. With union, we always begin with the object that we're going to combine into. So we have our object, and then I'm going to hold the shift key and select my other object. And all of these are under mesh, Booleans, and this is union. So you see we can actually have a few different choices. We usually leave these values alone. Over here, the classification in the operation. But if I made a mistake and I wanted to choose one of the other options, one of the other operations, I don't have to restart. I can actually just change it right from here. So the difference between Boolean union and mesh combine, say, is that these are now combined objects are actually now one. If I go to wireframe, you'll notice that it's actually cut out where these objects overlap. You can't actually separate out these objects. These vertices that connect here are actually connected to my surface here. So they're actually, as opposed to just operationally joining them together, here when we do a Boolean union, the objects are actually combined, union together with their vertices welded one surface to another. The second is cutting object or objects into another one. That's called difference. With Booleans, if I want to do multiple operations, I want to cut both this object and this object into the cube, I need to combine any objects that are going to be my Booleans. I can only Boolean one thing to another. So if I have multiple Booleans that I want to do, and all of the same operation, say all difference, then I would select the two objects that I'm going to cut into the Boolean. So these two spheres, and I'll combine them together, do a mesh combine. Then I'll select my cube, and now my combined spheres, and I can go to mesh, Boolean, difference. And it does both of them at the same time. And that's important. You have to do all of them at the same time. Booleans get very difficult to successfully implement when your object gets very complicated. So one thing that you might want to consider when you're doing these Booleans is to do it when the objects are as simple as possible, before there's a lot of operations on the Boolean. The final Boolean is just an overlap. So it's where the two overlap. So it'll leave both a little part. It'll take away both of these cube and the sphere and leave where they overlap. So that would be mesh Boolean intersection. And that just leaves the intersection, the overlap of the two. So that's, Booleans are a good way to get complex shapes very quickly. You can see I wound up with some complicated shapes here just by doing a simple Boolean. The problem with Booleans, like I said, is that as the objects get more and more complicated, the Boolean may or may not actually result in an object. If you try and Boolean two things that are very, very complicated in their surface, it becomes possible that Maya cannot display the final result. So what happens is your Booleans disappear. You don't get an error message because actually the object was created. It just Maya cannot display it. So in which case you have to find a different way to Boolean, or maybe remove your input history, your construction history. Sometimes that helps. But overall, the best way to ensure that your Boolean is successful is to do it as early in the modeling process, when your objects are as simple as possible, and that yields the best result.